Yeah, you're locked inside atlwebradio.com. It's yours truly, the Cyber DJ, the CK. Right back up in you once again, man, with the Credit GoRealla, my main man, T Brown in the building, man. What's going on with you today, Thomas?
Man, everything is everything, man. Once again, humble as a rumble in the jungle, man. Ready to get it on, man. Pound my chest, flick my sleeves, and get my fur right so I can deliver this message for the folks, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We're back at it once again. For everybody that's tuning in live right now on Facebook or Instagram, we are live as well, audio only from www.atlwebradio.com. And you are tuned into the Credit GoRealla. Thomas, what's been going on, man? I know everybody out there is celebrating a big win. If they was a Philadelphia Eagles fan, and really, I've been hearing a lot of hate going on from them Pats fans, man. A lot of sore losers out there, man. What's going on, man?
Man, you know, some people get to win it so long, man, they forget how to lose and lose with pride. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm gonna tell you, bro, I don't know nobody that ever got it right the first time. So that means everybody done lost some kind of way. But you know, I think what it is right now, man, is everybody felt like they had this one in the bag. You know, after coming off the NFC, beat down that they did last year for my Falcons, but you know they couldn't make it past my third set of birds, which was those Eagles, man. So the Eagles came out, played slap happy with them, and just played good coaching, outcoached them, outplayed them. You know what I'm saying? And all the way around, it was probably the best Super Bowl I've seen in a long time. You know.
It definitely was, and it was one for a lot of money to be made because, you know, everybody and their mama was going for, you know, even if they didn't like somebody and they felt, well, hey, the Pats are in there, my money's on the Pats, and shh. That money flew away with the Eagles, baby. The Eagle landed, for real.
He said the Eagle landed. I love it. Yes. I love it. Yeah, man. The Eagle landed, and he dropped some crap and kept on flying.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So, I was in the house with one of my brothers from Philly last night. Matter of fact, you know, big shouts out to OC Entertainment for hosting the show down at 11:45. You know, it was a good look last night. You know, like I said, man, I'm honorary Philadelphian because I got partners, like I told you, from North Philly, West Philly, and South Philly. So, you know, they was all born and raised on the playgrounds where they spent most of their days at. So now, you know, just big up to Philly, man. They earned it, man. They played hard. They outfoxed them, and they did what they had to do, man. Because, you know, Belichick's he a real sneaky one, man. Belichick's a real sneaky cat, yo. Him and the Brady.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm talking about everything from flat footballs to just about anything else you might come up with. You know what I'm saying? So trust me, I feel you, brother. I feel you, man. So I know we back at them once again. This is week number 2. We are bringing them a little better into the know when it comes to credit repair, credit reestablishment, and all of the good stuff mentioned above. And today, man, you have something a hot topic when it comes to getting your credit together, man. What do you got for us today, Thomas?
Man, today we're going to be talking about how to build credit and leverage your money. And that's a very, very good thing, man, because everybody wants to build their credit back up, you know, because they want to do what? They want to go buy some more stuff. They want to go ahead and, you know, just start spending their money back on some, you know, start throwing their money back out. But the thing is, man, it's like once you learn the power of credit, then you can understand that leveraging, you know, credit will allow you to use your money in a way that gets you more things, man. I'll tell you a prime example of what I'm talking about. In the book, The Richest Man in Babylon, they talk about how money is money, you know what I mean, whatever form of currency you want to put it into. But at that point in time, they had developed interest, and they knew that with one penny going out, that penny would bring back, let's say, 2 to 3 more pennies. So you got 1 penny going out and four pennies coming back. So basically, they look at it as slaves. They look at your money as slaves, and so when that dollar goes out, it literally should be bringing back more dollars with it. So in other words, you want your money to always be working for you. Well, once again, if we're looking at money as a universal energetic currency, and you're looking at cash, which is a tangible money, and you're looking at credit, which is a digital currency, then it's really all the same in principle. So if you can leverage your paper dollars to go bring you back more money with your digital currency, by spending your digital currency, you put that paper money back in your pocket and hold on to that because it comes back to your friends. So this is why this is going to be so big, because we really want you to get this building your credit thing down so you can start leveraging your money, my brother.
No doubt, no doubt. I dig that. And I think that for a large majority of the people that are building credit, a lot of them aren't totally hip to some of the different ways to really work the credit, or should I say allow the credit to work for them. And I think that's a very important fact, a very important tip that you're going to kind of give the understanding to tonight, man, as well as just really understanding the different things that credit can do for you. I know on last week's show you mentioned about a gentleman that has so many $1 million worth of credit, and he's actually able to utilize his credit to do so many different things for him in the midst of never leveraging his actual liquid dollars, other than to, of course, keep the creditors paid. And
exactly.
I thought that was just really unique. So, yeah, brother, I'm definitely down for hearing about that. Give us an earful, man.
All right, that's what's up. And then the other thing I wanted to do is I'm going to be going over some myths. I'm gonna go over some myths that people believe, because at the same time that I want to deliver this information, I want to also be changing mind states, because that's what this education is all about. That's why we're here. Because if all I'm doing is helping you get your credit right so you can mess it back up again, then I really haven't added value and I haven't really done a service to you. So if I can go ahead and debunk some things that you didn't know, it's going to help keep your mind right, so you know how to move forward, and proceed once you get your credit back right. Then we're doing something. See, then we can start talking about changing the world, putting together some dollars so we can invest and build some super big things. So I'll be going over some myths. But before I even do that, I want to hit them. Real quick. Bro, my ruler, and let them know that we still have that goal. So I need you guys to like this, share this, do whatever you got to do to get it to your friends, so we can actually hit that goal, that 90-day goal of, once again, we want 1,000 subscribers, 1,000 new followers just tuning into the show. So that's the goal. So we want to, we're going to be possibly changing up the time so we can meet that. So we just, kind of be ready for a possible time change, everybody. But we still want to hit that 90-day time where we can hit those 1,000 followers, people that's going to be those hardcore gorilla fans. And I got something for all of y'all once we make that happen. So if you're instrumental in helping us reach that, I definitely want to reward you. And ATL Web Radio, we're going to put something together for you. Don't know exactly what it is right now, but you will be blessed. So just stay tuned. Let's get ready to go, and let's look these fleas and get it in.
Okay, sounds good, brother. I want to remind everybody that is viewing us live on Facebook or Instagram. I have posted the link for you to reach back out to the Credit GoRealla, Mr. Thomas Brown here, and find out just a little bit more. I believe when you hit the site, you can actually leave your email address and schedule your very own free credit consultation. Is that correct, brother?
Yes, sir. That's exactly correct.
All right. So y'all definitely click on that link if you're in need of such. And my good brother Thomas will reach out to you and get that set up and get that out of the way so that you can be on the road to rebuilding or reestablishing or even just getting a little bit of credit advice. I see we have some viewers checking in. Shout out to Miss Octavia James checked in. Also, shout out to a few other folks I see logging in from overseas right now. We got some people in France just checked in, some more people over in the UK. So big shouts out to y'all. And I guess the floor is on you, man. I'm here to learn too, man. I'm taking notes, bro. I got my pen and pad here.
Okay. Look, so let's get it in. So here's five things that we want to focus on. The first 5 things we want to start talking about, and we'll go into each one of these things in a little bit more depth. But the first 5 things are the length of credit history, because these are things that you're going to be getting judged on. The utilization ratio, all right, on-time payments, having a good mix of credit, and total inquiries. So those are the first 5 things that we want to start focusing on when we're talking about how to build credit and leveraging our money. Okay, so the first thing first is the length of credit history. We want to try and start tapping in to any way that we can to start developing some credit history. Okay, so whether that's using secured cards, unsecured cards, charge cards, or even piggybacking off of somebody else's account, which is something we're going to be talking about here moving forward, which is a good way to get some good credit boosting going on. And if you do it right, you won't hurt anybody. Matter of fact, you really can't hurt anybody if you're just piggybacking off of somebody who has some good stable credit. So, but the point is, we want to look at the length of credit, because the banks are going to look at the length of credit that you have. They're going to see what the biggest, revolving credit and installment credits you have moving, what those limits are, and they're going to look at that when they're talking about providing you a loan for maybe a house or a car or something like that. So length of credit is one. The utilization ratio, I'm gonna touch on this one. This is going to be something that we touch on from time to time, but utilization ratio is so big. That's almost like if you think about your debt to income ratio, which is how much debt you have in regards to how much income you have coming in throughout the year or the months, throughout the year, basically. Then that's your debt to income ratio. Well, that's similar to your credit utilization ratio. So what that means is you get X amount of dollars of extended credit. And what they want you to do is stay within a certain parameter of that amount. So you'll hear me using this example later on. But if you have $1,000 and you want to stay within 30%, which is the golden area where they want you to be at, lenders, banks, they don't want you to go in there and use 90% of your credit, 100% of your credit, because it's going to look like, this person's not going to be real stable. So we're not going to be able to give this person nothing because, he's already showing signs or she's already showing signs, buying too many shoes or whatever it is that they're going to be doing with this stuff. They're not making any real progress. So they want to see good spending habits, good stable spending habits, because they want you to be able to pay this off at the end of the month. Even though they really on a slick side, I'm gonna be honest with you, they really want you to have some balance carryover so they can hit you with interest charges. Let's keep it 1,000, okay? So they really want to hit you with the interest charges because that's where they get the money at, and they know that there's gonna be people like that. But we're trying to teach you guys how to be realists, how to be gorillas when it comes to this credit thing. And a gorilla's not going to go out there and spend above that 30%. Okay? They're going to stay right in the pocket, right in the sweet spot. So they're going to say, if I've got $1,000 worth of credit available on this card, I will not use more than $300. Because the golden rule is to not use more credit than use your credit for what you would use your cash for.
I got you.
You feel that? So use your credit for what you would use your cash for, but keep your cash in your pocket. Use your credit and never spend more than what you can pay back right away. That's a prime rule right there. So the utilization ratio is staying within that 30%. I have $1,000 to spend, but I'm only going to use $300 at the max. That's my limit right there. And I'm going to use it for things like common things, like if I got to get gas for my car, if I've got to get, I'm not going to go out and be buying lunch every day or something like that. But if I've got to pay a bill, if I've got to get something for the house, then that's what you use that for, because that's what you would normally spend that cash on. You see what I'm saying? That makes sense?
Yes, sir, it does. Yes, sir. I have a quick question.
Okay. All right, yeah, run it.
Real quick. So in effect, would it be wise to, okay, let's say for this month, I'm utilizing my credit card. I got the $1,000 limit. I'm using my credit card. And let's say I'm using it for my gas on my car and as well for, I don't know, maybe lunch as well. Okay. And, you know, at those times that I would normally be taking cash out of my pocket, would it be wise to actually be putting those monies to the side so that at the end of the month we can for sure pay back credit card issuer? Or
you just said a mouthful. I mean, I'm talking my hands down. You just said a mouthful. But this is what we're talking about when we start talking about what you just mentioned. You're talking about discipline. Okay. Now, when you're talking about that level of discipline, you're talking about the person who is going to get a perfect credit score as soon as everything matures the right way. Because that individual that can put that money away that they normally would have spent understands specifically, I'm doing this to make sure I, 1, create a new habit, 2, I get my credit in check, and 3, I control my spending. Those 3 things are what's going to make you like a perfect, you know, and when I say perfect, I mean anywhere from 750 to 850. That's considered perfect credit. Okay, you don't have to have an 8. Like I told one of my customers today, you don't have to have an 850 because all it's going to do is you're not going to get a plaque, you're not going to get a reward for it. All right. So if you can put away some money that you know that money is going to be at, so you can pay it off at the end of the month, you would be in the running for total control of your finances. Total control. Okay, so good point, man. Thank you for pointing that out, man. All right, so, once again, that's why you want to stay in a sweet spot with that utilization ratio. Now, here's the good thing. As you do this for 4 to 6 months, you go back and you say, hey, I want to double down. I want to expand my credit. I want to increase my line. So let's say they increase your line. At this point in time, you're still rocking with that same $300. So let's say they increase it from 1,000 to, let's just go wide numbers here, to 10,000, but you're still using that $300, right? I mean that's not realistic, but let's just say that you're still staying at that $300. Your utilization ratio will go from 30% to 3%. So now they're going to look at you like you're a kingpin because you've got all this credit and you're not using it. And guess what? It's almost like that girlfriend that one girl in school that you wanted to chase. Like you're chasing her, she's running, she's not paying no attention to you. But as soon as you start paying attention to her, now she wants you.
Yeah.
That's how credit is. That's how they are when it comes to credit. If you're that person that can look at it like, you know what? I don't need it. I can live without it. And they're going to be like, no, here, take more credit. You're like, nah, I'm good. Guess what they're going to do? They're going to throw credit at you. I promise you. So that's the position you want to be in. You never want to go looking thirsty for credit.
Okay.
All right? So now the next thing you're going to want to do is keep in mind about on-time payments. That's credit 101, okay? Make sure that you're paying your payment, whatever you spend. Some people say pay it down and leave like a small balance. Like you can pay it earlier in the month. Like, matter of fact, to answer your original question, here's what you do. You spend $40 for gas. You take that $40 and put it somewhere for the end of the week, and then you send that $40 off to pay on your card. Maybe you send $39 of it off to pay on your card. And at the end of the month, what you'll have to actually pay out will be like maybe $5. Okay? So you know that you can pay that $5 no matter what as soon as that bill comes to your house. Oh, yeah, $5, I got that. No problem. You paid all your bills up at the end of the month, that credit's paid up, and you're good. So that's the way that you want to think about it. So when you make your payments on time, just make sure that you're not overspending so you can always be able to take care of the amount that comes at the end of the month, okay? The next thing is having a maximum, having a good mix of credit. Now, you want to have a good mix of credit, so you may want to have several different cards. You know what I mean? Several different types of credit, whether it's credit cards, whether it's a loan, whether it's mortgage, auto payment. That's something else you're going to be getting judged on right there. But at the end of the day, if you have a good mix, it's almost like an investment portfolio. You want to have diversification in your investment portfolio. You want to have some precious metals. You want to have some, you want to have some Bitcoins in there. You definitely want, Bitcoins or, cryptocurrency. You want to have a good mix of different things. You want to have some raw materials. So whatever it is, whatever, real estate, different things to make up your portfolio. It's the same way you want to look at your credit. You want to diversify your credit. It's very, very important. And they're going to look at that and say, okay, this person can manage multiple levels of income, multiple levels of finances. We want to give him more credit. Because I'm going to tell you why you want more credit. That's going to come with the leveraging part that we're going to get into next, okay? So the next thing that you want to check into, you want to check into total inquiries, all right? You want to keep your inquiries low, but at the same time, just know that they're going to, they're not going to take up as many points in the long run because they'll start rolling off. But the key thing is, you want to, if you're going to take those inquiries on, take on a certain amount at a time and then give them time to roll off. And there's a trick, and that's part of a strategy I'm going to clue you guys in on later on. But, man, I'm learning so much about this, and it's a blessing. So those are the top 5 things you want to look at when it starts the process of rebuilding your credit, my brother. Do you have any questions for me on that one?
I do. I actually heard you speak of something else just before we got ready to get started with this, as far as another way of developing credit. And it sounded to me, I'm not really familiar with them, but I heard a little jingle that kind of sounded like you were going to elaborate on credit lines as well. And that's something I wanted to hear about going into the next part of this. Once we got finished with that there, man, is exactly because you said that, those situations they're good for helping everybody involved. And I'm not sure if that's exactly what you meant, but I heard a little bit about them in the past, and I was just wondering if that was exactly where you were kind of heading toward when you said that earlier there.
You talking about lines of credit like with a bank?
Well, not even so much as that. More like a credit line to stand for a credit app style scenario. In other words, a way to actually help a person to develop credit. I'm not, like I said, I'm not completely sure if that's where you was heading, but it just sounded like I've heard something about credit lines before that kind of like back up.
Oh, okay. I got to say, yeah. So when I was talking about the different credit lines, that's another terminology for different types of credit.
Okay.
So I mean, you have credit lines where you can actually use the credit line from a bank, and actually basically a line of credit that they would extend to you just to be able to use it for whatever you need to use it for. Some people will actually use a line of credit. Here's a strategy. Here's a real quick strategy, and I'm glad you brought that up because I'm going to show you how it works into building your credit and leveraging. Right. So here's a way to really bust the game in the head right here. Okay, I'm talking about split the coconut down to the milk. So what you do is you will take out a loan. You put that loan into your savings account, and then you pay back the line of credit on a month-to-month basis. Now, that is going to show that, one, you're paying all your amounts off in whole. You're not carrying over any balance, number 2. And number 3, you're paying on time. You can even set it up to where it automatically drafts from your savings into paying off that line of credit. So it's so automatic that by the time that you've got it set up, you can have it set up to where it's manicured to, in 12 months, I'm going to pay all back this line of credit, right? And I'm going to have it automatically draft from my savings account to my line of credit. And it's going to pay that off. So within a year, if I started out with $5,000, they're going to probably let me double that just because I was that diligent in making sure they were paid by the end of the month every time. So that's another way to access a strategy for line of credit. So, you know, I don't know if that's exactly what you heard me talking about earlier. I was more so talking about the different types of credit. You know, you want to have different types of credit. So different lines to where you're talking about a card, you know, mortgage, vehicle, loans, those are different lines of credit as well.
Okay. One more question. Would the credit line be easier to obtain, or is it pretty much in the same ballpark as, you know, the loan and the credit card as well? Are those situations similar in that your credit is going to be the overall point of reference for the person actually issuing?
All right. Ask me that question one more time. I want to make sure I totally got that one down.
Okay, so I was asking as far as like the three, a credit line or line of credit, as well as a credit card, and then also like a loan. Are all three of those scenarios pretty much referenced as far as, you know, the determination of whether or not you would be able to receive one? Are all three of them pretty much in the same ballpark, or is there kind of I guess I say a level of hierarchy that they roll in? Is there like one that's greater than the other one, or vice versa? Or?
Yeah, in a sense they are, because it becomes a matter of which one, a matter of difficulty. Like you know, trying to get a line of credit is a lot harder than trying to get an unsecured credit card. So I can get an unsecured credit, and that's actually what I'm going to be talking about here in the next part of actually building up the credit and leveraging it. But I mean, you know, that's a good segue right there. So we'll go ahead and jump into it. When it comes to rebuilding credit, there are steps that you have to take. And you have to, number one, you know, just like when you're a baby, you have to start getting your footing, learning how to, you know, babies don't just stand up on their feet all the time and just start walking. You know, I mean, it's a rarity that happens. 9 times out of 10, they go through a phase of pulling themselves up. So if you want to look at a baby's taking steps as you know, pulling itself up on the furniture and then standing for a quick second, you know what I mean? And then, you know, then they may be falling. And then they keep doing that process over and over and over again. Well, that's what it would be like to start out with getting a secured card. Okay. You get a secured card, and let's say you put anywhere from $250 to $500 in that card. You stay within that 30% ratio, okay? And when you're in that 30% ratio, you do that, you're paying your bills on time, you're spending it for nothing but gas, you know, a couple of, you know, things that you know you've got money in your pocket, but you go ahead and just spend it for those minuscule things to just show that you're actually using the minimum spend. You're staying within that 30% area to where you keep your utilization ratio right, and you're paying on time. And so from there, you know, that's the baby pulling itself up on the furniture. The next step after 4 to 6 months is trading those in for an unsecured card. Now, unsecured basically means that, you know, secured is where you have to put some money down. Unsecured means that, you know, you don't have to put anything down for those cards because you qualify for those cards. So it's unsecured. All right. Picture that. That's when the baby is actually taking steps on its own. It still falls down, but it's still taking steps on its own without having to pull up on anything. It can actually just stand up, take a couple of steps, and fall on its butt. Hopefully, ain't got nothing in the camper because it could create a mess. But
Right.
you get where I'm going, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Completely.
Okay, so with that being said, that's the next step. So you go from a secured card to an unsecured card, all right? Then, and you do both of those for about 4 to 6 months. Now, if you're really trying to go rapido and you're trying to build this up faster, as opposed to going to the bank and getting just one card, one secured card, put your money together, put about $750 together, right? And maybe a little bit more depending on what the fees are, and go to 3 different banks and get you 3 different cards. You know, you go to one bank and get a card, you go to another bank and get a card, you go to a third bank and get a card. That's three different lines of credit right there. They're all going to be reporting back to, you know, your regular cycle. Now, keep in mind, that's going to say that, you know, you're still spending that money, but at the end of the year, you get that back depending on the way your secured card is set up. Then you do the same thing. Now you upgrade to the unsecured card. Now you're actually you're in the game right now. You're in the game because the unsecured card means that, look, we can take the training wheels off of this guy. Okay? But now the next step after the unsecured card is getting a charge card. That's the holy grail of where you want to be at, because these cards have no limit. So therefore, it's like, you know, you can go in there and you can just, like, you know, like American Express, MasterCard, you know what I'm saying, top-notch Visa. You know, that's what you get within about a year. You can transition up to these if you play the game right, and you go at the earliest, maybe 8 months, at the latest, a full year, you know, but you're able to get into a charge card, which is, you know, you're talking about, you can apply for those. They have no limit. I mean, they're going to be able to, you know, increase your limit if you show good spending habits. They'll be able to go ahead and start, you know, really, you can start churning with these cards. You can get, you can use these points for vacations. You can use these points for free air flights. You know, I mean, free, like, just different rewards. So that they come with point systems. And these points can go from anything from travel to lodging to just getting cash back. And that's something else we're going to be talking about, because people want to take vacations every year. Well, that's how you do it. Right. That's how you do it on somebody else's dime. And just that due diligence of paying things on time is going to help you get to that. So, when I'm telling you that's the lick, you're talking about 4 months, 4 to 6 months with a secured card, another 4 to 6 months with unsecured cards, and then, you know, at that point in time, you're ready to go for the big boys, which are the full charge cards, my brother. So what do you think?
Well, I do think this, man. I think that you are a brother with a plethora of information when it comes to getting all this stuff put back together, as so many of us are in need of. And as well, I think that now is about the time for me to drop this website on them one more time so they can make sure they get to you.
Okay.
You know, straight up, man. You know, I'm going to give it to them real, man. It's time for them to get back to that website so they can be able to get the one-on-one with you, because your questions to those very, very important, the answers to those very, very important questions may or may not get answered here. But the fact of the matter is that we have a website here posted in the chat room on Facebook as well as Instagram, in which someone can set up a one-on-one with you and find out how they can actually better their situation. Because, again, everybody's situation is unique in its own way. The website address is FES Connect. That's F as in Fred, E as in Edward, S as in Sam, Connect, spelled out right, .net /T Brown as in the color, I. That's I like important I, 2 I's. And I'm going to repeat that. That's www.FES Fred Edward Sam FES Connect.net /T Brown, T as in Tom, Brown, I. And you can go on over to the site there, as well as signing up to meet up with Thomas and get a full credit consultation You can, I believe they can leave email and all that good stuff as well, right, bro?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so
and the email is Credit GoRealla. The Credit GoRealla, and that Gorilla spelled GOREAL, like real, LA, like the city. So Credit GoRealla @gmail.com.
Gotcha. So that address as well, that email address as well, is posted there in the comments area for this video. Man, it's just a lot of information, man. I mean, like every time we get started with this, I try to put my brain on reserve so I can actually be able to save some of this mentally, man. And that's why today I actually made sure I pulled out my pen and pad, because I'm just telling you, brother, this is so necessary. So many people have gotten to the point where they don't even want to talk about it, much less much less go and see somebody that's going to, go through it with them. There's a program that's in place to get it together. But, normally when somebody gets that summons, they're normally in a position where they just tried to get something with credit or are needing to get something with credit, and they're looking at, well, damn, now there's a whole, maybe 6 months or a year or sometimes even, longer of a window in front of me actually being able to represent myself outright the way, you should. And I just say, man, this show gives a lot of people the opportunity to go ahead and get those things out of the way now before it's actually a necessity. Therefore, when it's a necessity, it won't be a thing that they got to go looking for and how to worry about how to fix it. It'll already be good to go for them. So I definitely say this is an excellent show, brother. The information is beautiful, and I'm tuned in. What do you have for us next?
Okay, so with that being said, right, what we're talking about, like your average listener who doesn't own their own home, this is where you get your home at. Okay, if you put in the work for 1 year, now, keep in mind that, the average point system goes from 300 for the FICO at a low end to 850 at a max. If you're coming in and you're doing what I'm talking about doing, you should be able to build yourself up to at least get into that 700, 720 range where you can actually go ahead and get, with the proper debt to income ratio, you can actually now apply for a mortgage. So what I just told you was a blueprint on how you can get your mortgage, how you can qualify for a home. Because even though you built up all this money, now you can turn around and you can, all right, now, we're about to start with something very, very integral, right? So I need you to follow me on this one. We're about to go into the myths. And one of the myths is debt good or bad?
Okay.
And the truth is, debt is both.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I know you might be leaking some coconut milk over there, because this one definitely sits you down to the coconut. But the reason why I say that is because if I utilize some of my credit to put down on my down payment for my home, that is a good thing. That's an investment. So that investment is going to bring me back money, because it's going to increase. It's going to get me a lower percentage rate, a lower interest rate, because at any time, the more you pay on your down payment, the better your interest rate's going to be. All right, make sense? Yes. So then you're putting it on your credit card, which, of course, depending on how much you do, you want to be able to pay that down. But the key thing with that is you want to make sure you've got a payment system done, a payment system put in place, to where maybe you want to be, of course, be saving more of your money to put down, but you can also put some of that with your credit card. So, I mean, it's not a negative thing, because when you can actually purchase a home, that's going to be considered good credit, because that home is going to increase in value. Okay? God forbid we have another, 2008, 2009, But, you know, as the way things are right now in the real estate market, you know, bouncing back, you know, now you're not so locked into the rates that they want to give you. You can actually go in there and tell them what kind of rates you're looking for, and they have to give it to you because, number one, you've got the income ratios on point as well as your credit is on point. You see what I'm saying? So those are two big qualifying factors. And since we've already talked about diversifying your credit portfolio, now you are able to get car, mortgage, and you've got good credit. You've now got good credit habits. You've got good spending habits. Your financial habits are totally impeccable at this point. If you've been doing what you're supposed to be doing, your overall package is looking like something that is showing signs of stability and promise. Okay. So anybody who is a lender is going to want you on their side. Okay, so that's where this comes into play at. So what I just told you is how to get yourself, if you really want it that bad, you want that new home, you want to sacrifice and get that car, this is the way you do it without hurting yourself.
Gotcha.
And within a year's time, you should be able to qualify for that. So with that being said, now we're about to start talking about these myths. Okay, the myths. And I'm going to kind of breeze through these because I want to leave it open for some Q&A if there's some people that want to ask questions. Do you have any questions out there so far?
At this point, man, I'm sailing along. I want to get into these myths with you, man. So I'm just listening closely, bro.
Okay, excellent. All right, so the first myth number one, is paying interest will help increase your credit score. So when I say paying interest, that means, if you heard me earlier, I said when you allow a balance to go from 1 month to the next month, that balance that goes over is going to get hit with an interest rate. So let's say you got a secured card, and you got that secured card, and the secured card always comes with a higher interest rate because you got to build that trust. You're a baby that doesn't know how to walk, and they want to make sure you're going to know how to walk. So with that being said, if you know you're going to get high, you're going to hit with a high interest rate. So you don't want to get interest. You don't want to pay that. Okay, if you're paying an interest rate, you're doing something wrong. You're doing something wrong if you're paying an interest rate. That means you did not pay your bills at the end of the month like you were supposed to. That means that you also spent more than you were supposed to out of your, you know, it's a small percentage of times when you actually have an issue to where you can't take care of your business. But if something happens, okay, understood. Bounce back. Everybody falls. Every saint falls. Pick yourself back up. Dust your shoulders off and get back to stomping again. Okay? But if that's not the case, and you're paying a percentage rate, your interest rate, you made a mistake somewhere. Okay? Because you should be paying your bills off at the end of the month. Carry over no balance, pay no interest, okay? So paying interest does not increase your credit score. It does not help you out. Matter of fact, it's the total opposite. When you pay off your bills on time, that shows that that goes to your credit history, which means that now you're more trustworthy every month you do that, okay? Right. So that was myth number one. The second myth was that you also don't need to carry a balance each month to increase your score. So once again, those two kind of play in together. If you don't carry a balance, you don't pay interest, okay? So there's no need to carry a balance over. It's not going to help you any, okay? When you pay your bills off on time, that's all they want to know. And trust me, when we start talking about business credit, that is more important in business credit than it is in personal credit.
Okay.
Now I'm telling you that because I told you, man, you're gonna be working on your business credit. Because by the end of this year, we're gonna set a personal goal where I want you to be able to get the mid 5 figures to low 6 figures in business credit. That's gonna be our goal. Okay, and we're gonna streamline that and make that happen. Okay,
I'm all in.
So you all in on that one, right?
Yes, sir. I love it.
All right, so Now, the next myth is checking your own credit will decrease your score. Marilla, when I tell you that I've talked to people and they literally believe this, but I understand why. I used to believe this, okay? Because this is why I'm saying these things. You can check your credit score every month if you want to, and it's not going to affect your score, not 1 point.
Okay, that's a good thing to know. That's definitely a good thing to know.
Not going to affect your score 1 point. So check your credit often, check your credit frequently, check your credit. I've got people that I talk to on a day-to-day basis, and brother, when I tell you my heart sinks and my heart goes out for them, they are so paralyzed with fear that they don't even know what their credit report looks like.
Yeah, I feel you. I totally feel you. I've actually kind of been one of those guys for a long time myself, so I know exactly where you're coming from.
So that's one thing we want to debunk. Now, let me tell you where the get you comes in at, okay? If you go to Equifax, if you go to Experian, you go to TransUnion, you can download your credit report through them. You can go to Credit Karma. I don't like Credit Karma for nothing. They don't give me accurate points. They don't give me good information on nothing. So I'm not even talking about Credit Karma. But you can go to annualcreditreport.org also to pull your credit report from all 3 bureaus. All right? Here's where they get you at. When you want to know what your score is, that's when they get you. We'll give you a credit report all day, but if you want to know your score, you're going to pay for it. Now, that's when the shice comes in. So now you just think, if you know that, if you can live without your score, because I can live without my score for one reason. If I can look at my credit and see what's going on in there, I've got Smart Credit attached to my program, okay? So I'm able to go through Smart Credit as long as I send them my update, which is, the way our service works. We get our disputes back, and then from the credit bureaus, and we send those disputes right over to United Credit. United Credit will take that information in, and they'll send it up and update the points for our Smart Credit. And Smart Credit, for those that don't know, is our program that allows you to. We teamed up with Smart Credit, which is an online credit monitoring company that teamed up with our company to be able to provide our customers with, the ability to check their score, check their debt-to-income ratio, their credit utilization ratios, the different mixes of credit, so you can see all of this in Smart Credit. So it's a really, really handy tool where once the information goes in there, it updates, and that's where I see my score at. So all I want from these bureaus is let me know what you're removing when I send my dispute letters in, and then let me know, let me get my credit report for you as often as I ask for it. And other than that, I don't need them for nothing at all. So that's one of the things in our services I'll be talking about. Matter of fact, I want to do a blowout show, man, and just talk about all the different services that we offer. So I'm just, we'll talk about that a little bit later on. But the next myth that you want to look at, man, I'm not going to give you all because there's a lot of myths. I already hit you with the debt, the good debt, bad debt. But having too many credit cards will decrease your score. Negative. Okay. Negative. That is not the truth. Let me tell you, these myths are so crazy. It's the exact opposite. The only way having too many credit cards will be a problem for you is if you cannot manage those cards appropriately.
Gotcha.
Okay? So let's look at it right now. We're going to actually do this. We're going to do this. I told you about the guy who has 220 different credit cards. There's other people out there that do this on a religious basis, man, and it's a thing called credit churning. We're going to do a show on that, too. So if anybody's heard about credit churning, you can go to Google and Google it, or, but we're going to be talking about this probably if not this next Monday coming up, one of these 2 Mondays, in the month of February.
Okay.
So having too many cards, it's the opposite. Think about it like this. The more cards you have, the more they trust you to say you've got stable history, a good discipline, and you're responsible with the credit that we see that you have. Okay?
Okay.
So here's how it works. Remember that example I gave you earlier about the 30%
Yes, sir.
income, debt credit utilization ratio?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So here's how that really comes in. All right, let's say you've got, once again, $3,000, okay, is your spend, and you got a $10,000 limit. That's your 30% credit utilization ratio, right?
Okay.
Okay, so now you're spending that and you're doing exactly what you're doing. You're in the good because you're within that 30%. Now, let's say we add more credit cards, and now we 10x our $10,000 credit limit, and now we're up to $100,000. We're still spending that same $3,000. Our credit utilization ratio now is 3%. Now they're looking at us like we're God.
Gotcha.
And that's all because we went in and got more credit cards. We went back to each one of those credit cards. And here's a little tip and trick. If you already have credit cards and you wanna increase your balance to start being able to spend more and do more, just go to your number one card where you got the most history. Tell them that you want to increase your credit limit. You paid bid on it, and they'll bump it up. Now go to your next card that's closest to it and say, I need to increase my credit limit on this card. And they're going to look at the highest credit limit that you have, and then they're going to match that or go higher.
Wow.
And you do that for all of your cards. So you inch up on all of them, and you build a relationship with them. And there's some verbiage that you want to use when you go to talk to these guys. So you don't want to just pop in and say, hey, I want to go ahead and increase my no, man. You call these people, they're human just like you. They talk to you, you talk back. Hey, you know what, man? How's everything going with your day? Where you guys at? Oh, okay, yeah. How's the weather out there? Yeah, I'm in Atlanta, man. It's it's off and on. You get all four seasons in one day here in Atlanta. You laugh and you chuckle, and so I mean, is everything good with you guys? Like, well, look, I got some things that I really want to do, man. I mean, can you look at my history? How's that look to you guys? Looks good. Yeah. Well, I try and make sure I get you guys paid off all the time, on time, and not carry any balances over. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully that's working for you guys. But what I really wanted to do today is I wanted to go ahead and see about increasing my credit limit. What kind of increase can I get? Well, yeah, I mean, I understand. You talk to your manager, see what you got to do. I'll hold on for you. Right. All right. And then they come back and they let you know what they can do.
Okay.
That's look at my history. I mean, I've been with you guys for X amount of years now. I mean, I've got a good history, good relationship with you guys. You can see I've done a couple of increases. Once every 6 months, I'm doing an increase with you guys. And, I'm still stable. Can we do a little bit better than that? Okay. Oh, now that I've got that up to, from $1,000 to, let's say, $7,000 or $5,000. Let's say $5,000. The 7 would be a big jump, but not an incredible jump. But, let's say $5,000. Now I go to the next card that I have that has a $1,000 balance to it, and I'm going to take them up to $5,000 too. So now what I've done is I keep my same spending habits, but now I've just put an extra $8,000 towards my overall available credit amount. Right. And as long as I keep spending the same, I've lowered my credit utilization ratio. And now I'm looking like a rock star. Okay. So too many credit cards being bad for your credit? Negative. We debunk those myths.
Okay.
So,
okay. I love it.
So, Marilla, talk to me. I know you leaking coconut milk over there. I need you to talk to me right now. What's going on?
Well, I found a lot of interesting things, man, and I love the fact that you have took the gas out of a lot of urban myths that we are told on a regular basis. I mean, you have people in the credit departments of some car lots that give you those same myths, man. And it's really crazy with them working with credit. You would think that they would give you a more accurate depiction of what's going on, but at the end of the day, their total job is to get you to sign up for that car, whether you can afford it or not. So I do understand why that can be misconstrued in that delivery of speech, but it's just wowing me because a lot of these methods really aren't that hard. To me, it sounds more like it's just really about discipline. And discipline is one of those things that, you have to truly be encouraged to utilize. Most of us get discipline on a common sense basis. However, it goes out of the window one way or the other based on a lot of times the things that go on around us and how they affect us. And with that being said, it's just like the other one that you spoke on about, the credit cards. Well, it would make sense that, if you were going to get a whole bunch of credit cards and fuck them up, excuse my French, and screw them up, as far as not paying your monthly fees and doing the right things, as far as, the utilization of it and then as well, your timeliness of your payments, then of course it would make sense for that not to be a good thing for you. But as you stated, good brother, as long as you have gotten to that point and you're well exercised in the area of discipline, it would only make sense for things to increase for you in a good way. So again, man, I just find so many things that you say, man, helpful to the average Joe. I consider myself the average Joe, and in that, man, these are very, very, very helpful tips. And over the next few months, over the next, course of time, you're going to be working with me on my own personal and business situations. And I'll be your live crash dummy, so to speak. But with that being said, man, I know, and you've alerted me to ways that we're really going to be able to change this, man. And I go into this at the end of each one of our shows, brother. I'm very thankful just to have you here giving this information because to be honest with everybody that's checking us out, man, these are tools, tips and tricks that you normally gonna pay for them, and the brother, the Credit GoRealla, has found it in his decency to share it with you guys here. In that as well, I want to remind everybody that you can go and if you're on the Facebook page currently, ATL Web Radio, Facebook.com/ATL Web Radio. I have inside the chat area a direct link to Thomas so that you can actually go to a site, leave an email address, and he will actually schedule your very own free credit consultation, as well as his direct email address is posted. I'm going to read it to you real quick if you got a pen and pad. It's Credit GoRealla, and Rilla spelled REALLA @gmail.com. That's Credit GoRealla @gmail.com. With the gorilla being spelled GOREALLA @gmail.com. Definitely reach out to this brother. He's got some good information, good news for a brother that's been walking around in the shoes that I've been walking around for the past 20 or so years, man. So I definitely, man, thank you for taking the time out your schedule and joining us, man. I know we leave it wide open for everybody to be able to chime in with questions. And I'm sure as this thing goes forward and we get closer to that goal of 1,000 subscribers in 90 days, that we're going to have more questions come along. But at this point, man, I just like to say, man, hats off to you, man. You're truly opening up not only some doors for everybody involved But as well, man, you're opening up a third eye for myself, and I'm sure for many others as well, as far as exactly what to do and how to handle it. So I want to thank you again for that, brother.
Man, I just want to thank you, man, I want to thank you for your due diligence, man, of staying grounded, staying focused, going through all the hardships and the ups and downs of what it took to keep this going for 18 years, man. So I could get myself prepared to actually finally show up and be here, you know what I'm saying, to rep with you and help you hold this flag up, man, because you know it's Black History Month, and you know, take that for what it is. But at the end of the day, you know, I feel like, you know, we have to literally lift each other up to make sure that we're able to keep these voices, you know, going across the airwaves so we can speak intelligibly, and they can know that there's some place out there where they can get some good information, they can hear some good music, and they know that they're being represented, man. So in lieu of that, I'm going to even do an extra thing for all of those customers this month. I'm going to also, on top of doing a free credit consultation, I'm going to also deduct $50 or give you a $50 discount off of the services.
Oh, awesome. So
I want to extend out for this month. I want to let everybody know that if you, I tell you what, I'm not going to give it. I'm not going to make it a discount. I'm not going to make it a discount. What I'm going to do is I'm going to gift you. I'm going to gift you $50 off of your services, because my thing is, I understand our demographic is financially challenged. We have been financially challenged for years. And that's one of the things that Dr. King said the most that we had to get together was our finances. And before he was taken away from us, one of his next movements was going to be for financial literacy, financial education, for financial reconciliation with our communities, with our nation, with the world as a whole. And so I stand up and I salute this brother who made so much strides for our people. And I want to go ahead and say that I'm going to gift you a discount gift you $50 off of the services. Amen. So that's also my pledge, on top of doing a free credit consultation for all of those who hit me up at sesconnect.net/T Brown as in the color, I as in India, I as in India. Okay? That's okay. Frank Edward Sam Connect.net/T Brown like the color, I as in India, I as in India.
I love it, brother. I love it. So make sure you mention that you heard them live on ATL Web Radio to take advantage of that special gift and opportunity. I wanted to run one more thing and say one more thing that I actually caught myself saying earlier today, and it just felt really good saying it. And I think if we hear it enough, it might change and when I say our, I'm talking about us as a people, the black race that is, and change our thought pattern on it just a little bit. I was told a long time ago that reminiscing was probably one of the lowest forms of communication, meaning saying that to say, if we're reminiscing, if me and you are talking and we're reminiscing, we're talking about things that happened in the past, it's a good chance, and this is not to say it's a guarantee, but there's a good chance that we really don't have anything to talk about. However, if we're talking about things that are ongoing and building for a better future, our communication is going to be a lot more engaging, and it will keep both of us engaged that much longer. Now, I said that to say, I'm not taking anything out of Black History Month. However, I would like us to think about it in a different way. As opposed to, I'll say, reminiscing about what took place with us in our past. How about looking at it as Black Future Month, where we can really truly come together and concentrate on where we're going as a people for the future? What do you think about that, Brother Thomas?
I love it, man. I love it.
And like
I think for so many years we've looked at it as this is a month that we fought for or whatever. No. you know, I like more what they say when they say that, you know, Black history is every day.
Yes,
you know what I mean? Black history, I'll take it another step further. Black history is world history.
Right. And it's not to be forgotten by any means.
Say again?
No, I'm saying, and it's not to be forgotten by any means.
Oh, no, it can't be forgotten. It's you know, and I think that's where it really comes to bear fruit at, is that in everything you see, you know, whether it's the shapes, whether it's the structures, whether it's the you know, engineering, the design, whether it's the advertising, the marketing, whether it's the, you know, innovation, all of that has its roots in Black history. So it can never be forgotten. You know, you can only see the roots when you dig deep.
Hey, I
but
love it.
For 9 times out of 10, you're going to see the tree. You'll see the leaves and all that other stuff. But just know that without those roots, that tree doesn't grow, and those leaves, they don't turn green.
Amen.
Okay?
Yes, sir.
So, and those roots are deeply, deeply connected to interconnection. So I would like to see this being one of those times where we come together and talk and then prepare our next moves to go out in the world and bring more attention to not even our struggles, but bring more attention to what we are currently doing that is beneficial to us.
Amen.
Because I believe that there's so much attention being focused on the struggle, when that's really just a state of mind that has been perpetuated. See, I believe that the struggle is a state of mind. It's become a desirable state of mind. But once we can move past that state of mind and say that everything that is and everything that will be and everything that ever was came from the same source.
I like that.
And there was no struggle for it to happen until the mind state of struggle was created. So I want this to be that time when we can come together and build together. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm like you, family. I would like to see it the same way. Something more progressive than just us getting together to remember the past and reminiscing about what used to be. I don't want to reminisce about what used to be. I'm in the now moment. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be focused on shackles and slavery, because my ancestors would not come back and say, hey, you know what? Don't forget that we were in chains. No. Right. Because if that's the case, then my ancestors would also come back and say, remember when we were kings and queens.
That's right.
And be the kings and the queens that we used to be again. So recognize your king, recognize your queendom, and recognize your empire building capabilities, and go forward and do that. That's what if we're talking about ancestors, because slavery was just a little while ago, but we've been building for eons.
Right. I like the way you brought that back too.
Say again?
No, I'm saying I like the way you brought that back too. That was nice reference. I dig that. I dig that completely.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Most definitely, man. Shout out to everybody that checked in tonight, man. Whether you were listening live on the website, atlwebradio.com, or watching us live on Facebook or Instagram, I definitely want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. We will be back next week, same bat channel, same bat time, for you to be able to get more of these credit tips and tricks from the Credit GoRealla, Mr. Thomas Brown. Brother, again, thank you, man, for tuning in with us, man, and setting the people straight on some of these greatly misunderstood facts of life, man.
Man, I appreciate you for having me, brother. And once again, you know what I'm saying, we'll be in the jungle same time next week, bro.
No doubt. ATL Web Radio, Credit GoRealla. We up out of here, man. Y'all make sure y'all stay tuned. We're going to keep it going with that hot hip-hop and R&B music, man. atlwebradio.com. Tune in or be tuned out.
Carmelo. Tell them all them lies and tell me the truth. Really, is that what you planning to do? do. I had dreams of my brothers defending with you. Then I woke up, I was dead in the cool. Then I got come out and looking confused. And just cause you love that don't mean you will lose. You stay humble, you focus, you concentrate. Cruise, it's the Garden of Eden. Jill, watch how you most stay determined. With positive kicking this smoke out my tail like a war. When I see revenue, keep my faith in the Lord as I deal with a few. Keep my faith in my boy, cause I know they are born. Understand, leave out cause I have me a few. Never have them around when I'm making no move. If I got it, you got it. One thing I'ma do, I'ma hold it down for you. Send shots for your true. One thing about a man, he gon' keep it 1K. Sugar cup out the water, ain't had no Kool-Aid. Time is precious, just hold it down for me today. Keep my faith in the Lord as I make it a place. I'm a gain in the war of the moves that I make. Keep my family going, I'm keeping them straight. Had to circle around for the phony and fake. Took a standing ovation, I did that for day. He did it for me and we did it for fame. My daddy had been in messed up in my face. Had to teach me the game, but I knew how to race. From my sister, yo, I still when I call the case. Look, it's better to compromise, we'll make it place. And I'm tripping, got bands in my pocket, he flaming. Ain't nothing for me to re-up in this stage. Let tell me a different approach, got them caged. They're different from everyone who's been upstage. They're small, that little dope hit the earth and feel phased. They get a bad for these little shows on my blades. Recover my body from thought when I face it. Flipping my body, been through to the sharp pit. All of my body for real, I've been heartfelt. I heard Orlando, feel like I'm up north still. Tripping off activists, long make me cross still. Know that in Cali, I'm cooler with boss still. That's where I'm going, just throw that bitch cross still. Playing with Trey as the city was moss still. I dropped the top, me and Jay hit the charge shit. I'm feeling great, the trimming, there's no cross still. Hoes wanna splash, they see how the stars feel. All in LA, you ain't broke down the